Hey guys, welcome to Esther's Breeze, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. Last week we had our so-called baptism of the show, and the love and support and the outpour was unbelievable, and I want to thank you all so very, very much. I also want to thank Jenny DeHeim from PAX Management. I'd like to thank my partner in crime, Fernando Renzo, who is supposed to be our techie but will not be tonight. And of course, the man who coerced me, twisted my arm, and made this all happen, Mr. Robert D'Alessio. Let's bring him on.
Hey, Esther, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you. And how are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing just great. I'm just totally excited to be here, to be part of this, to be part of your first official podcast. Bravo. You're doing a good job, and it's starting to show that the viewers are really starting to pick up. And coincidentally, I'm going to remind everybody at the beginning of the show, what you want to do is that you want to come and comment on the stream tonight, and then make all your nice comments for Esther. Go on to Esther's Breeze on her YouTube channel. You want to give her some comments, give some blue thumbs, subscribe to the channel. You want to share, and of course, you want to hit the notification bell. Esther, we have a great show lined up tonight.
Yes, we do. So this young lady, against all odds, came to Canada, left her family, left all her friends, and decided to pursue her dreams and to follow her passion. And she's done an amazing job. I cannot believe that in 2 years, this young lady has been in 11 film and TV shows and 4 commercials. So let's bring her on. Myriam Lopez. Hey.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. So, unbelievable. You left Mexico. You came from a small town, Leon. Is that correct?
Yes, Leon, Guanajuato. It's hard to say.
Okay. So, but 6 years ago, that was not the first time that you left home. You left home when you were 21. Is that correct?
21.
Okay.
Yes, I left for New York. I went to live in New York.
Okay. And what prompted you to do that? And why New York?
Well, it was funny, but since I was a little girl, I remember saying, when I grow up, I don't want to live in Mexico. My parents were like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I don't know, there was something always inside me that I wanted to go away. I love my country. I really, really love Mexico, but somehow I believed or felt that I didn't belong there. So I went there to be actually a nanny and to study. I was supposed to be there for 1 year, but ended up staying 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you take acting classes at that time? Was that?
No, I was just studying English. Like, I wish I tried to, but it was so expensive. It was super, super expensive. And I mean, I was a student, part-time job, so there was no way I could afford an acting school in New York.
So then you went back to Mexico. What prompted that? Like, how did that happen?
My husband happened.
Okay. That's a good reason.
Yeah. Yes, I met him while I was in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were friends for a couple of years, and then I ended up going back because of him. And then we got married.
Wow. And then you guys decided to come to Canada.
Yeah, since I told you, I don't know why I always wanted to live in a different country. So I told him, why don't we go and live in a different country? I thought he was going to say like, yeah, whatever, And he's like, sure, let's just investigate about it. And we found out about Canada, and we hired a lawyer. So we got the residence and we got here.
That's amazing. So let's backtrack a little. When you were a young girl, was there any opportunity to act? Was there any available schools? Was it something that you were already pursuing?
Well, honestly, since I was really, really little, I always wanted to act, always, but I was never allowed. Like in school, I could do it, and maybe family dinners, Christmas, I would always put up a show all the time. But then it was a really small town, so there was no such a thing as acting school, like in Mexico City or like bigger cities. But then actually, when I was already in college, I found out this acting school was opened. So my parents dropped me off at school, and then I skipped school and went straight to that acting school to have an audition.
Wow.
I know. And then I actually got in, and I was,
Oh, amazing.
yeah, I was over the top. I was crying. I was so happy. So I was 18 by the time. So I went home and I told my parents, okay, so I'm quitting school because I'm going to be an actress. And I just got into an acting school. And they were like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. So then, when you're 18 and you feel like you have the power, and I'm like, I'm old enough to do whatever I want. So my mom said, okay, pay for it. And I say,
Oh,
yeah. And it was like a really complete program. It was from 8 a.m. to 4 or 5 p.m. So there was no way I could actually take like a part-time job to pay for it. And it was really expensive. So I ended up being a teacher, which I loved at that time. It was really, really fun to teach little kids.
absolutely. So to get to Montreal, what was the process? I know you went to a lawyer, you attended a certain conference. Did it have to depend on the vocation of either yourself or your husband to get in?
Yeah, actually, they ask you what your profession is, and they choose like a main profile, which it was his because he's an engineer.
Ah, okay.
So there's a lot of jobs about engineering, and that's another thing. The lawyer said, "Oh yeah, when you get to Canada, you're gonna get a job so fast, and it's gonna be so easy." But it wasn't. It took him, with all the experience he has, it took him about 6 months to find like a really stable job. I was pregnant at the time,
Okay.
7 months
That's
pregnant,
crazy. Okay.
and we were living out of our savings from Mexico. So it was really stressful, and it was really, really hard.
Is it more complicated when you're pregnant to immigrate? Is that an issue?
Honestly, it wasn't planned. We were planning to move in the summer, me not being pregnant, getting a job, getting to know the country, the people, everything. But then I got pregnant. So my actual plan was to have my baby in Mexico and then move to Canada. But the lawyer said that don't do that, because if you have the baby in Mexico, he's not a resident. So then your husband has to go to Canada, and then after he finds a job, like a stable one, then he can ask for the baby to come into the country. So that can take up to a year.
Wow, that's crazy.
It is. So she said, just go there and have the baby over there. So it was quite a change because we left in January when we're supposed to leave in July. So we quit our jobs, and we had to rent our house and sold all our furniture. And it was just like everything so fast, and when you don't plan something, it's hard.
So you come to Montreal. Do you start teaching, or what was the process?
In my mind, that's what I wanted to do. I'm a preschool teacher, but here it's kind of different. In Mexico, you have a teaching program, and it's more like a little school. Here is just daycare, and it's more like babysitting, because I actually studied 1 year here in Champlain College to complete my education studies.
Okay.
But then when I did my internship, I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. Like changing diapers and just playing games. And I love children, but it was too tiring, and I had children of my own. So I'm like, I want my energy from my own children. So then I quit, and I didn't. I got an offer to stay in that daycare, and I said like, thank you, no, thank you.
So did you stay home? Did you start getting into acting right after? How did that transpire?
Well, I was at home. I was a stay-at-home mom, and
Okay.
I love being a mom and I love being a wife, but something was really missing. So actually, I got to the point that I was really depressed that I
No.
just felt like I don't know, what am I doing here, you know? So I told my husband, I want to go back to Mexico. I want to go back to my teaching, to my school, because I had a pretty good job in one of the best schools in Monterrey. So he said, okay, why don't you try to do something for you first? Give it a few months. And after, if you still feel like that, then we'll go back to Mexico. So I'm like, okay, but that's the point. What am I going to do? I don't know. And then he said, you always want to do acting. Why don't you do it? And you know, when you start self-sabotaging you, I'm
Yes.
like, no, I'm too old to start. I'm supposed to start when I'm a teenager. And then I don't know anyone. I don't know how to start. I have an accent. English is my second language. So blah, 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 blah. And the list kept going on until he said, try it. And then I will never forget. He asked me this question and it really hit me.
What
He
was
said,
that?
He said, let's pretend you don't need the money, right? You have all the money in the world, but you are forced to work in something for the rest of your life. So, what would you do if you had to do it for free? Like, you're never going to see a penny. And I just say, acting. Like, I don't mind if I'm acting from 4 a.m. to 5 p.m. If they don't pay me anything, I'm happy. And he's like, do it. So, but it was hard because I told him, okay, so I'm going to do it, but I really want to talk to you about it because if I start, I'm not going to stop, okay? Because I wanted to do this my whole life. So if at some point you feel, I don't know, let's say I have to kiss someone
Oh my
because
God.
because it's going to happen. Actually, it happens already. I'm like, how are you going to feel about it? Because I don't want you to say, oh, you know what? No, quit acting. I can't do it anymore. Because then for me, then that's going to be really heartbreaking. I prefer not to start than have it and then don't have it again.
Of
And
course.
he said, I'm okay with that. Just don't show it to me. I don't want to see it. That's it. Just tell me, oh, no, this film, don't watch it. And that's it.
So what was the process of actually starting to find schools and starting to get parts? Like, how did that happen?
It was really hard. Like, honestly, as I said, I didn't have a clue because it's a new country for me. My friends here, they're from Mexico, but they are not into acting. So I was just clueless. So I asked Google. I said, best acting schools in English in Montreal. And then the first one that showed up, it was like a few, but I clicked in Jill Plouffe
Okay.
studio, and he's amazing. I really love him. He's a great teacher. He taught me a lot. He's so sweet. He's so nice, and he wanted, yeah. And I really learned a lot from him. And then I just I met a friend, and he's like, because I didn't have Facebook at the time, and he said, you need to open Facebook and you need to join every acting group so you can start getting like roles in student films and stuff. So that's what I did. And then I just started applying to everything. Audition, 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 and this, and as an extra, and as a waiter, and every single role, I will say yes, you know? And then actually one of my friends that I met on set, he said like, oh, you should try MSOPA. It's really fun. So I did, and I'm so glad because I got to meet you guys.
Yeah, this is actually where we all met in Let's Talk Showbiz,
The showbiz.
the Zoom class. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So,
amazing because
so
honestly, what I feel is we have become like a family, you know, a lot of support, and I just love it. And as I told Ralph before, I'm always going to be super thankful to you because you believed in me and you gave me my first recurrent role in a web series with my accent, created based on my roots, like Mexican. So that meant a lot to me, like really a lot.
Well, you know what? I'm thrilled to have a Mexican girl who speaks
Mexican.
Mexican. Hey, Miriam, you have a huge fan here. by the name of Ryukat. And Ryukat, he's our friend on all of our podcasts. He's from Japan.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah.
And he's a big fan. And he's asking how to be a model as Lolita.
How to be a model?
Yeah. How could an actress be a model? I think that's what he's trying to say.
Oh, well, honestly, modeling is not really my thing, but sometimes I get asked, like tomorrow I have a really early photo shoot and I like it. I enjoy it, but it's really different because it's only posing, but it's fun. But my thing is really becoming a new character and exploring that.
So you visited the U.S. You visited New York at age 21, where you stayed for 4 years.
Yeah.
You were a nanny there,
Mhm.
and then you went back to Mexico. You married your husband. You came back here. What is the cultural difference between the three countries?
Oh, well, a lot. For example, in Mexico, actually, you don't leave your parents' house until you get married. So,
Wow.
yeah. So my husband did. I mean, he was living with his parents until he was 28, and we got married. So I was the black sheep of the family who left at 21. I mean, sometimes happens, but usually you stay with your parents until you get married, and it's more close-minded, kind of. Like here, people are more open, but in Mexico, people are really warm. They're really touchy. They're really happy all the time. I think it's because of the sun and the weather.
Okay, your parents weren't giving you any support. However, were there people, friends, family in Mexico who were supporting you and, like consoling you, saying, you know what, you're going to be able to live your dream one day. Just keep believing and you'll be able to do it. Is that what was happening back in Mexico?
Not really.
Oh,
I just stopped talking about it.
okay.
It was just like, no, it won't happen. It's okay. But
Wow.
it's happening.
Esther, I believe we have a demo reel here
Yes,
for
we do. All right, guys.
ladies and
check this
gentlemen.
out.
We invite you to watch this demo reel, not demo reel. Demo reel is what they give you in hospitals.
Isn't that a medication?
Medication, yeah. Watch this demo reel, and you're going to see the scope. You're going to see the what do you say? The scope. I mean, how large a talent Miriam is. She goes from being a bad girl, and at the end of the video, she's all cute and lovely. So after,
Yeah, let's go see.
let her rip.
Have you been naughty? Oh, nice. Me? I love to see the look of hope in their faces before so ripped away along with their dignity. Oh, and the look of shock when you actually hurt them.
Where I could have been, I got to go. And I can't stop running away from here.
Hey, I remember that
That
clip.
was amazing. You play crazy real good.
I know. Those are the roles I keep getting. I'm like, I can be nice too.
But you
But
know
it's
what?
fun. It's really fun.
We knew that you were being like you were having these bad girl roles. So when we cast you on the show, make you being like more of a good girl, but not exactly.
But not really. Yeah, I'm good. No, I'm a troublemaker. But
So, Miriam, have you gone back to Mexico since you left a few years ago? Since you had your children?
yeah, I usually go once a year to
Okay.
visit my family. Yeah, I actually just went during COVID. Don't hate
Okay.
me.
Oh wow. Okay, that must have been
Wow.
interesting. So
Yeah.
my last question before we go on back to Esther over here, Miriam, for 2021, what is coming up? Are you thinking of trying maybe some theater, maybe some comedy, because you know what? I can see you doing some comedy.
I don't know why people say that. And the thing is, I don't think I'm funny at all. So I don't know, but I think it's really hard. Comedy, I think, is one of the hardest. And theater, I really want to try, but I really have some projects coming this 2022 or 2021. I cannot really talk about them, but I'm really excited.
Oh, that's very mysterious. You can't even give us a hint?
No,
No? Okay.
I can. But what I can say is that people have believed in me, and I'm gonna be forever thankful. One of them is Jenny. Actually, she's been like supporting me big time. Robert, I told you were one of the first ones who actually believed in me. And yeah, and again, you created this character for me and means a lot. And I also, besides Jill and Josa, I'm taking classes. I hope I can say his name good because I called him John. Eoani Kutrovis.
Ionis Katrunas.
Kutrovis. Yeah, his name
Katrunas. Ionis Katrunas. John, call him John.
John from Cinemagic Productions, and he has believed in me a lot, and I'm super thankful for that. And the great thing is I'm taking classes with him from the director perspective, which is amazing.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It is, because usually in set, what do? You work with directors, so you get to know the way they want you to act, And he has been pushing me a lot, and I can see a difference already, Like he has taken me out of my comfort zone for sure, but he's one of the guys that have believed in me a lot too. And I think I'm really lucky to get to know people, like you guys, like him, like Jill, like Josa, and many other friends that I will never, like Vincent, he's great too, Shannon, like we became a family.
Indeed, because you're all very heartwarming people. You're absolutely amazing, well trained. And Esther, go
Yes.
ahead and plug MSOPA. This is the time to do it.
Yes. So we actually all met at MSOPA. I myself
We did.
classes there for about 3 years. And they offer voiceover, they offer just scenes, audition classes, comedy, musical theater. I mean, there's a ton, and it's a great place to get started.
Yeah.
And Miriam and I were one of the classes, just scenes.
Just scenes.
And
that's a really fun one. I love it.
And it's like it was a great interaction because it was nothing at all what we were doing on Daily Struggles. Yeah. It's like it was really intense, and Miriam she just rode the wave. She did an amazing job. And you know what? I think that you have people here who think you're funny. Look at here. Look at Uriah Cat saying,
I'm funny.
You're very funny. Then you got Carla Gonzalez. Is that someone you know?
Yes, she's one of my friends.
I'd like to see you do comedy as well. You see that? So you have to
I love you, Carla. Yeah, she's one of my best friends here, like my sister. She's very, very supportive.
I think you've done some TikTok videos with her, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's Stefania.
Stefania.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is the hardest adaptation coming to Canada over here compared to Mexico? I mean, in Mexico, it must be so much easier, but there are things over here that you still need adapting.
The weather, the cold. I can't. It's too much. Oh, it's been 6 years and I still can't adapt. Like I always need my winter break in Mexico. That's why I leave, because I'm going crazy. I'm like, I need to go to Mexico.
I actually wanted to ask you about the fact that you do have an accent, whether it gives you the edge or it hinders your opportunities. The whole idea of diversity now in the entertainment industry. Do you think that because of that, it's helped you, or has it hindered you?
Both. because I hate that sometimes it's like, yeah, we're looking for a Latin, but with American accent.
Hmm.
Then look for an American. Don't look for Latina, But then, yeah, the whole diversity thing, it has helped a lot. But the way I look, it hasn't really, because even Josa said it one time. It was so funny. She's like, let's be real, you don't look like the typical Latina. And but it's funny because, for example, all my friends look exactly like me. But what I mean is, when they're looking for stereotypes like Latinas, they're looking more for the indigenous kind of.
Right.
So I don't look anything like that. I always they tell me like, oh, but you look Italian, you look from Spain, I'm like, well, no, I'm from Mexico. And actually, once I had a casting for a commercial, and the director literally, with a pen, crossed the Latina and wrote white Latina. I'm like, okay. And then he said, like, you don't look Latina. I'm like, yeah, I do. So I don't know what they have in mind. But when they send pictures, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm never gonna look like that. Because I thought being Latina, like minority, it was gonna help me, somehow because of the diversity. But I think I need to be darker.
What's that girl's name who's on that show? She's a Latina. It's a popular show. I always forget her name. She's a
Sofia
Latina.
Vergara?
Sorry?
Sofia Vergara?
Yes, yes. Look, she's got a Latina accent and she's doing very well for herself.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what? You don't have to worry about the fact that you have a Latina accent. And you also have George Lopez, probably related to you, like
Oh,
500 years
we are
ago.
so many Lopez in the
Yeah,
world.
who knows? He's got an American Latino accent. That's probably what they were talking about. But to be honest, it's not going to stop you from getting somewhere. She's doing very well for herself, and you're doing very
Yeah,
well for
it
yourself.
doesn't stop me. And now that you mentioned that, yesterday I saw my agent, and he knows that I'm really like worried about my accent and stuff. And he said, I'm gonna tell you something. You gotta stop about the accent because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take accent classes. And he's like, don't do that because your accent is unique. And nowadays, people like productions, they want diversity. So just focus on your acting, be good in acting. The accent doesn't matter. So he gave me this. I felt really good after talking to him.
The accent just adds to your charm because, well, yeah, it's just that people look at you before you speak a word. They're all anticipating what's she gonna sound like, and when you speak, you go, "Oh my God, she speaks Mexican." No, it's not.
Mexican. Yeah,
You
but
know,
it's funny. Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry, but I was just curious because English is not your first language. When
No.
you're studying for a part, like what's your process? Is it more difficult, the memorization? Like, how do you do that?
Well, I have act here in Spanish, and it's way, way more easier. Like much, much easier. I can see the difference. But what I do in English is first, I read the script out loud. Usually, I talk to a friend that is native. So I read out loud, and then they can correct me, like, no, this word, you say it like that. So I take notes, like write my own notes of how to pronounce certain words. And then I start doing, I don't know, by line, like crazy, just reading, 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 reading. Every time, the first thing I do in the morning when I wake up is read my script all the time. And then I just, before acting, before getting emotional, before getting to know the character, the backup story, anything, I just memorize so much that it's kind of like automatic. So when I'm in the scene, I can actually just show my acting and not be anticipating what I have to say. How am I going to say it? But it's just, for me, it's just repeating, repeating, repeating. And sometimes I even write it. When it's like a lot, like a line that I'm struggling with, I do it. And also I do, when I go skating in summer, I record the whole thing. So I'm playing it while I'm skating.
Oh, good
So I,
idea.
so I try everything.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna remember that one. You were talking
Yeah, that's
about
good.
your agent. Like, how did you manage to get an agent after only being in the industry for 2 years?
Because I don't stop. I'm telling you, I messaged so many agents, and they said like, "Oh yeah, we only work with ACTRA," and
Oh yeah.
well, Robert is ACTRA, but it's really hard to
Yes.
become ACTRA, and it seems almost like impossible. Like you want to be ACTRA, and you're like, "Okay, what do I need?" Okay, you need to book a role in ACTRA. Okay, how do I book the role? You need an audition. Okay, how do I get auditions? Oh, only for actors. So how am I going to audition if you don't audition non-union? But anyway, so some of my friends mentioned him, Constantine Cortidis with Top Talent.
Okay.
He's also, I'm so happy working with him. And on set, I've heard his name so many times. So I just gave it a try. I'm like, I don't have anything to lose. I mean, they know I already have it. So I just
Cheers.
Hey, Miriam. Hey, cheers to you, Miriam, and to you, Esther, to both of you
Thank
girls.
you.
Success in
tears.
both your own rights.
So I just messaged him and I'm like, oh, so I'm really looking for an agent. I heard your name a couple of times and I'm interested in to see if you're, I don't know, interested in getting to know me, see my material. And he said, sure, send me your demo reel, send me your resume and your headshots. So I did. And then he contacted me 2 days after and he said, okay, I'm going to review everything. I will give you a call on Friday. I'm like, okay. So the whole week I didn't sleep. And then he never called me. So I'm like,
I
okay,
know.
that's a no. I know. So I'm like, okay, that's a no. It's okay. I mean, I have all this time to do it. But then he wrote again, like, I'm so sorry. I've been so busy. I'll get back to you next Friday for sure. And I said, okay. And then he called me. And I just freaked out and I just ran like a crazy person in the house. And then he told me like he was interested and just he gave me like a bunch of instructions to start working with him and that was it.
Wow. Well, that happened really fast. And Miriam, what is the advice you give to someone? Because I've been through some auditions, and I know that I knew all the lines. I had studied very well. I went into the audition and I screwed everything up.
It happens.
And what do you do? Do you panic? You say I'm sorry. You walk out. What do you do?
Honestly, for me, being in an audition room is the most frightening thing. It's like I'm so thankful for self tapes, so thankful. It's really challenging because it's intimidating. You enter the room and you see two camera guys, you have the director, the casting director, the reader, you have like 5 people looking at you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you exposed yourself. Like I'm there, everyone is just waiting for me to say my lines. So what I do is I try not to really worry about the lines. I mean, I do before I do my homework and I study a lot. But if I messed up a line, I think I just try to be more into my acting.
Do you improvise? Because what I did on that occasion, I just came up with something brand new. I just improvised the whole thing, and because I did that,
You got the role.
I got the role because I did that.
That's a great story. I love that story.
Yeah, you have to improvise. Like actually, it happened to me on set, and I was having this argument, and then I forgot my line, but I said shit, and just continue. And then when they say cut, I'm like, I'm sorry, like I forgot the line, and the director is like, what? No, I loved it. Like I love how this shit came out.
Yeah,
It was funny.
sometimes it can play in your favor. So
Yeah, sometimes.
the moral of the story: if you go into an audition, you mess up your lines. It's like don't give up, don't walk out of there with your tail between your legs. Just keep
No.
going and improvise. Just do anything. And at Joseph's MSLPA, they got improv classes.
Improv class. Oh, and as you know, it's really challenging and it's a lot of rejection and you don't have to take it
Yes.
personal, because sometimes you can be super talented, but you just don't look the part. Either you are taller or shorter or too white or too dark, or your hair is too short, or the way you walk. It's a bunch of things, and it's exhausting, but you just have to keep trying and trying and trying and trying. There's no other way.
Do you think you're getting more auditions because you have an agent? Has it made a difference?
It has made a difference with commercials, because since I'm not extra, and I mean the roles that I get, it's on my own for the films, because usually it's not paid.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
We've
the
all done
agent, exactly, which I'm not complaining. I love it. I mean,
I do it as well with
being
pleasure.
cast is exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been talking to him, and I know since the moment I become actra, then I'm sure I'm gonna get more auditions into film that are actra. But right now he gets most of commercials, which is good because they pay good, you know.
You know, you take everything you can get your hands on and get your experience with.
Exactly, everything. Yeah.
Esther,
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because I actually printed your CV from Casting Workbook, and you said that you got all the films and TV on your own, and there's 11 of them. How did you manage that?
Because as I said, I'm in so many Facebook groups, and all the time, oh, but if you seen the auditions I've done, it's like triple of that, you know. So that's what I'm saying. You maybe audition 10 times, and then the 11th you get the role. So don't give up, because people is like, oh, I never get roles. But it's a bunch of things. Like you, as I said, you can be the best actress or actor, but it's not what they have in mind physically, you know.
and don't forget, okay, because what happens is that when you're going to an audition and it's not because you didn't do well, they're going to remember you for another role.
Yeah, exactly.
And that can happen.
Yeah. Actually, it happened to me. That's what happened. I went to an audition and I didn't get it, but then like 2 months later, I got an email with that, like, oh, I want you to be in this film for me, with that audition. Like, I remember you from this audition. So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
That's amazing. You know, and it's not just in acting, because voiceover, when I first started, I literally did 30 auditions. They were online, but I had to do 30 of them before I got my first one. And then after that, it just started to come. But yeah, you have to get used to rejection. It's just part of the, you know, part of being in the entertainment industry.
Exactly, which is hard, but
yeah.
Is it necessarily a rejection? It's not always rejection. It could be like money in the bank. It's like not this time, but we'll see you next time. So it's not exactly a rejection. It's like what happened to Miriam. You know, we're gonna get you in for another role.
Well, they didn't say that at the time. So for me, that was a rejection. They were like, oh, okay, thank you. And then I got an email like, oh, so the director decided to go in a different way, which is kind of saying, thank you, no, thank you. So I'm like, yeah, it's okay. No worries. And then 2 months after, I got a role with this director without even auditioning.
Amazing. So you never have to give up. You always have to stay on the ball. And how important it is, Miriam, to always be on top of the game, that you're taking classes, that you don't go rusty. How important is that?
Well, that's basic. You can be the best actor and always keep learning. There's always a lot of stuff we have to learn, you know, and you keep in every class, you learn something new. And there's so many areas of opportunity. And honestly, you have to do it every day. Even though you don't take classes every day, I don't know, read a book, just rehearse a monologue or create stuff. I don't know, but you have to, you know.
Are you thinking into either becoming a screenwriter or writing your own scripts, perhaps even being a director? Is that something that's that you're thinking about, like further down the line?
Yeah, actually, we are in the middle of doing one with Shannon and Sean.
Okay.
We're almost done with our script.
Nice.
And I'm also writing, but this is gonna be in Spanish.
Oh.
I got two amazing friends, actors that speak Spanish. One is Giuseppe, and the other one is my friend sister Adria de la Parra, and we are writing a web series in Spanish. So we are really, really excited, and it's gonna be really good.
Wow.
And yeah, sometimes you have to create your own content,
Esther, I remember when you came on the Daily Struggles, it was such an amazing experience. You came on with Nando.
Fernando, that's his nickname, Nando. Yes, go
Nando.
on.
Everybody calls him Fern. I'll call him Nando because nobody does it. I'll be different than everybody else. And you did an amazing job. And
I did.
Thank
I,
you.
I felt the energy, very much similar to how Miriam was feeling the energy when she was on our set.
It's about passion. It's about having the passion for it. You just know. You just know. That's when you're alive. There's no other explanation, and you have to experience to understand it. And that's what we have in common. It's that passion. Even against all odds. I mean, Miriam coming from another country, having an accent, and for myself starting at a much older age, you just do it.
And Miriam, you were talking about being too old to start acting. Well, I'm going to tell you something. On our show, Daily Struggles, we set an all-time record. We have an amazing performer.
Oh, yeah, I know her.
Lovable Edna Cat Silver. She's 90 years old. That's 90.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So don't talk to me about being too old to be acting.
I know, but it's sometimes stop you believe, like, oh, you want to be this teenage girl acting, and it's just stuff you say to yourself, which is not correct. And now I think, oh yeah, that was so stupid of me for even saying that. Like, I'm having the time of my life. Every time I get to be on set, it's just time that I don't want it to end, I don't know how to explain it.
What's the aspect of filming behind the scenes that fascinates you the most? For example, are you fascinated with the lighting, with the sound, with the camera? Of course, the director, that's something that fascinates you. But besides being director and the screenwriter, what other facet from the film business really blows you away?
Well, when you made me do the camera, I was freaking out.
Oh, I didn't know that. You made her do the camera?
Well, look, we were short a cameraman, a camera person,
because
we absolutely had to have that because it was a pan shot, and Miriam wasn't comfortable with it. But I reassured her, got her out of it.
I was afraid to mess it up, because it was like I have no experience.
But
and
Miriam,
he's like, no, but it's so easy. You just do it like that. I'm like, but what if because of me, you have to do it again,
But it doesn't matter because you know what happened? It's film, right? It's not live.
Yeah.
And it's film. You can take 2, take 3. You did it on take 1. That was just amazing. So you were very good. So we just told you what to do and you did it. That was it.
I know. It was fun, but it was stressful.
Well, okay. And what is, you're saying that to learn your lines, you have to repeat and repeat and repeat. And then what do? You learn all your lines first, and then you start personifying the character. Is that it?
Yes. First, I read the character to get, the script, to get a sense of what my character is. And sometimes, even though I'm just reading my lines, in my mind, I'm just already feeling, like even it was with John, he sent me this monologue, and while I was reading it the first 3 times, I cried because I felt it.
So that's how you interpreted the script.
Exactly. So I think you really have to get into the character's skin so you don't really act, you live through the character. I don't know if that makes sense.
How about you, Esther? You must have a delightful question in the sense that Miriam, with her 2021 coming up, is going to be doing some films she can't talk about, but she's probably going to be doing something other than filming. Maybe she's going to be trying something in the wardrobe or maybe hairstyle. Is that the type of thing that you would want to look at being on a set? And Miriam.
Like on a set? How? What do you mean?
Doing some wardrobe and doing some hair, the makeup and all that. Is that something you would like to touch as well?
Oh, no, I'm not good at doing that. I wish, but I'm not.
How about you, Esther?
No, that's not No, that's not something that I'm particularly good at either. But I
Yeah.
wanted to ask Miriam if you had any advice to any aspiring actors or actresses, what would it be?
Honestly, just do it. Don't block those negative comments or comments from yourself that I can't do it, I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I don't have this. No, if you really are passionate about this, give it a try because you're never going to regret it. But also, is that don't, because of rejection, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
This business is really hard and it's really, really, really hard. We know that. So that's my advice. You have to enter this wonderful world knowing, because it's not like when you get a job and you did excellent with an interview. So you have a job from Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. In acting, 1 month you can be full of things, right? And then you have 4 months and you have nothing. So because it has happened to me that I'm just sad that I want to be on set. So if it's not happening, you make it happen. Like I just sit with a couple of friends and we started creating, Don't wait for the opportunity to come to you. Like you have to knock so many doors and be ready also. Like even if you're not filming right now, keep taking classes, 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 classes all the time. That's my advice and go for it.
Yeah,
Like on every audition you can.
I agree.
Yeah.
Miriam, you've been an absolute delight. It was so easy. And I want to thank you for being my very first, yes.
Thank you. I feel really
My
honored.
very
Thank you for
first
having
guest.
me.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you're going to do great. You're lovely and you have this amazing energy and your voice. It's lovely.
you.
No, it is.
Thank you so much. So I want you to stick around because we're going to have a little after party.
Okay.
And I'm going to just have a little chat with Robert, and I'll see you in a bit. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Robert.
Yes.
How can I thank you?
Oh my God, that was so easy, Esther. You did a fantastic job. You were excellent.
Well, you are an amazing guest co-host. And I want you, please, can you come back next week?
I'll do it again for you. If I can do it and help you out, Esther, is going to be my profound pleasure. Yes, by all means. Esther, I just wanted to say something really important.
Sure.
Okay. Folks, so Esther, she's got her own YouTube channel. It's Esther's Breeze. So, folks, go on to the Esther Breeze channel. You want to comment, you want to give the thumbs up, you want to share, hit the subscribe button, and click the notification bell because every time there's something new coming up, you'll be the first to know. Esther, thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. And stay for the after party, please.
I'll be right there. Yeah, we're going to have a wine party. Yay!
Guys, that's it for this week. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with Miriam, to have Robert as my co-host, and I can't wait to come back next week. So please stay tuned.